So let's go ahead and start. And Supervisor Simon.
Thank you. So obviously, board meeting today. Finish this out, and then I have some meetings tomorrow, Wednesday the 3rd. Have some meetings with constituents in my district. Let me double check here, make sure I'm not missing. So Wednesday the 3rd, I have a South meeting on Wednesday for the, I think it was moved to the 4th. Let's see, sorry about that. Draft South Main revenue model on Thursday. I have that meeting set up. I'm going to see, I thought I had another one. Mental Health Services Act FY 2021 program planning meeting on the calendar also for the 4th in the morning. Calendar lost here. Friday the 5th, I have some meetings down here in my district early in the morning on Friday with a couple of constituents, trying just that issue. Waiting for hopefully a meeting to be set up through Senator McGuire here with some local issues that are going on for some projects that are happening in Lake County. Monday back here, I got a meeting with Carol on Monday the 8th. And then back for the board meeting on Tuesday the 9th. I might have missed something. My calendars are acting a little crazy, but that's what I have right now. And if I did miss something, I'll bring it back up before the end.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Supervisor. Supervisor Pyska.
So before I do my calendar, I want to report out on a couple things. This was a wild week on the mountain. Last Tuesday during our board meeting, it started snowing, and power went out to over 500 customers just in the Cobb area, but I know there was significant outages throughout the county. This was the first time that I've had to deal with something like this in this capacity, and I'm really thankful for our CAO, Carol's leadership, and working with Sheriff Martin to kind of help me figure out how to help these constituents. It's been a difficult year for so many people, and being snowed in and not being able to leave and having trees fall all around you and having your power out, I felt like it was kind of the last straw for a lot of people. There was high levels of anxiety, and we really worked as a team to get some resources to these people through some avenues in the community. The Department of Public Works came out. I know they were plowing all over the county, and they were working day and night. So I really want to thank that team for working tirelessly to get those roads clear. That was a big deal, as well as Caltrans. The Cobb Mountain Lions Club, as soon as I asked them if they would open a warming center, they jumped immediately, and they had that warming center open by Friday when we realized that the outage was going to be extensive. And so I want to thank the Lions Club for jumping on that, providing a place for people to warm up and charge their devices. It was cleared with Dr. Pace. All the protocols were followed. It was a very safe place to be. Catholic Charities jumped in. They brought a bunch of blankets and socks and food. PG&E delivered 500 solar charging battery packs, 1,000 blankets, and a pallet of water bottles. That all arrived Friday night. So I'm really grateful for PG&E to really stepping up and doing that. And I know over the past few years, PG&E's gotten a hard rap for other reasons, but they worked so hard this week to get power restored day and night through terrible weather, and then bringing these resources here. I'm I'm so grateful for that. I'm grateful for their support. I'm grateful for their dedication. And I hope that you all can see that too. NCO came through big time with a donation that had previously been sent from PG&E to support the warming center with refilling their propane tank. CAL FIRE, I don't know if any of you know this, but CAL FIRE had sold one of their really large generators to the Little Red Schoolhouse for $1 last year, so that this building could be used as a resource for people during PSPSs. So the Carberry Council paid to have that generator installed last year. This was the first time it was used, and so I'm really grateful for that giant generator. It's amazing to have that. And then South Lake Fire, they went out and plowed the non-county maintained roads, which is a big deal when you have 1 foot to 1.5 foot of snow and you can't leave. So their crews were out there, again, day and night doing that work. So it was a huge effort. The warming center, they had 84 visitors over the course of 3 days. Now, so they were open Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sunday, most of the power had been restored, but that's a significant amount of visitors coming in, and 42 of those chargers were given out. So it was a big deal. It was important, and I'm grateful for everybody that helped pull that whole thing together. One of the other things that happened was the cell towers went out. So there's no cell service in the area if you're through AT&T. So Sheriff Martin worked really hard on getting a temporary tower brought up to, it's right on Boggs Mountain. So until, the roads are impassable on the mountain. The trees are down, the snow is heavy still. So for AT&T to get up there and do those repairs and fill their generators, it's gonna take some time. So having that resource here and having people connected again is a big deal. And so I'm really grateful for Sheriff Martin, who pressed hard for that. We have a lot of debris to deal with. Trees fell everywhere. In a lot of the areas, you couldn't see the snow because it was covered in pine needles and fir needles and branches. It was just green. So this is going to take a long time to clean up. And I'm working with Chief Duncan and Chief Wink to kind of put some pathways together for the community on how they can clean up their lots and be ready for fire season. So it was a lot this week. One of the things that I really learned is that, we have a COAD that's been set up in our county. It's in its infancy. And one of the things that could have been easier is if we had a paid director of that COAD who could have activated the resources and kind of taken that away from, some of the other people that were busy with things. So I would really like to urge you all to think about ways that we can support the COAD as a resource going forward. I consider this a little micro disaster. It was a big storm. We haven't had a storm like this in 10 years. But I did attend a climate change webinar with meteorologists and scientists, weather scientists from Northern California. And the consensus is that California is going to experience prolonged dry periods and extreme wet periods. So we've already seen this with drier springs and drier falls, but that means we're going to get more precipitation in a shorter amount of time. So these storms might become more regular. So that's just something to keep in mind. Again, kind gestures from everywhere really helped this community get through. Morale was very, very low at times, and I'm just thankful for all of the support and everybody that lent a hand. It was inspiring, and more community members jumped out to help. So that was great. The Supervisor Simon didn't mention, but the Risk Reduction Authority, this is separate reporting. Risk Reduction Authority is planning a retreat for next Friday, not this Friday, but the 12th. And we're going to be doing some reorganizing of our priorities. And Supervisor Sabatier and I have been talking about doing kind of roundtable share out about how we're preparing for fire season. And I just wanted to air that I'm having both of those conversations with both of those supervisors, though we didn't have any cross coverage of topics. But I did want to let Supervisor Sabatier know that I'm going to refrain from those conversations until we can get the risk reduction kind of reprioritized over the next coming weeks. And then last night, Supervisor Simon and I attended the first meeting of the Lake County PBA, which is the Prescribed Burn Association. And that was led by Dr. Mike Jones with our UC Davis Extension. And we have a whole group of people in our county ready to collaborate on prescribed burning. And it was a great meeting. There was a lot of neighbors. There was people from the tribes. And so this is going to be a collaboration going forward and how we can long-term manage our vegetation over the years and kind of get into a maintenance program with all of that. So that was my week, and I will let you know how my calendar is. So this afternoon after the board meeting, I'm meeting with Supervisor Simon and CAO Hutchinson and Ms. Grant to talk about the risk reduction founding documents. And then tomorrow, I have a tourism improvement district meeting. I have a Zoom meeting with Congressman Thompson, an orientation with Carmen Koch, an orientation with Todd Metcalf, Calvert Radio check-in in the evening. On Thursday, a supervisor orientation with Kathy Saderlin, orientation with Rob Howe, reopening committee for Middletown Unified School District, and an orientation with Pam Samek. On Friday, I'm going to Elijah House. And next Monday, I have my weekly meeting with Carol and a AAA meeting in the afternoon.
Thank you very much, Supervisor Pyska. Thank you for your report as well. Supervisor Scott?
Yes, thank you, Supervisor Pyska, for all those shout outs to everybody behind the scenes making everything work. It definitely takes a village to get through, as you said, these little mini disasters that we have going on. My calendar today, I have a 4 o'clock department head eval meeting, and then I'll be attending the Lakeport Council meeting at 6. Tomorrow will be the last pit survey strategy meeting. Actually, it's not strategy because we had the pit count last week. We did an amazing job as a community going out, counting those who are experiencing homelessness. I think I mentioned this before, but only 20% of the counties in California actually performed the pit count this year, and we were one of them, and we rocked it, and the numbers are much higher than they were 2 years ago. So that'll definitely help bring more funding in to be able to help those individuals seek a better future. And then at 11:30 tomorrow, I have to go sign papers for First 5. I have a phone call with the executive director of Hope Rising at noon. At 1, I'll be meeting with the city of Lakeport and other representatives. We're working on filling out a grant to bring in programs to help our youth here in the Lakeport area. At 3 o'clock, I have a meeting with constituents. On Thursday at 10 o'clock, Mental Health Services Act meeting. At 3 p.m. on Thursday, is that? Hold on. I have, the COC meeting at 3 p.m. And I also have a meeting with administrative office at 3. So I probably will miss the COC meeting at 3. On Friday, I'll be taking my daughter to DMV to see if she can't get her driver's license. So we'll see, we'll have another teen driver in the house, which will help with grocery shopping. At noon, I will be going with Supervisor Pyska to the Elijah House. And then at 4 o'clock, I have doubled up meetings again. I was supposed to be going on a tour of the Work Right building to see all the workers that we have in there. I been told that the parking lot is full of employees, and I was excited to see that, but now I have an executive hope raising meeting that I have to go to. Saturday, it's not too late to buy your tickets for the Fair Foundation dinner. It'll be a drive-through dinner, so get online, purchase your tickets to support our fair, and then back here on Tuesday.
Thank you, Supervisor. Supervisor Crandall.
Thank you. Yes, so I'll report on a couple of meetings I went to last week. We first initially the solid waste, Lake County Solid Waste group, where we met, and one of the big topics of discussion was the treated wood situation. And so we went into some discussion about that and how it's going to take some time, at least a couple months, before some solutions start, coming to fruition. Because of some of the waivers, I think that will start accumulating at the mid-month here and start hopefully moving forward on the first of the month. But in the meantime, I've got a lot of constituents in my district that were asking what they should do with them. So I sent them some frequently asked questions, gave them some tips, and hopefully they're moving forward with figuring out what they're going to do with some of that treated wood, as it is that situation is very precarious because of the state mandate. The Potter Valley Ad Hoc Committee is the two basin solution. One of the situations I know that we don't stand pretty. We kind of have a lot of issues with that, as Lake Pillsbury, they're talking about that situation where they're moving to take down Scott Dam, and a lot of the discussion was based around accumulating funding in legislation that's coming down from the federal government. They're also not wanting to lose momentum on their plight as an NOI group. And so that was really one of the main topics of discussion. And so, I didn't really have much to say. More or less, I just wanted to attend to see kind of what was going on. Of course, I like the idea of, I've seen that some of the folks were talking about getting some dams taken down, and I like the idea of another dam being taken down, but not Scott Dam. And so I'll continue to advocate for keeping that dam, of course, because of not only because of the fire, the necessity to fight fires with Lake Pillsbury, but also because of the ecosystem and just the fact that we weren't really necessarily consulted with this situation. And one of the main things is that it was kind of put in Lake County prior to. So I won't go into another soapbox discussion about that, but I just wanted to highlight that I went to that meeting. And so today, be a part of agenda review with Supervisor Sabatier and Carol and Anita, department head of Al committee meeting with Tina as well. Wednesday, a TID meeting, and I'll be with Jessica in that one. And we'll have our first Earth meeting since last February. We'll be having on Zoom. And so that'll take place Wednesday, 4 p.m. And I provided the link to the chair, and that should already be out, actually, according to the Brown Act standards. So I'm pretty sure that's out already. And if anybody needs help getting onto that, you can email, text, or whatever the case may be for me. I'll give you that link. CSA 2, that one's actually a tangible meeting, and it doesn't get a lot of they have enough room to social distance, and it usually is comprised of about 10, 12 people at the most in a really big building. So they've done fine for this past year. And so I'll be attending that at 7 p.m. Thursday, I have something on my calendar called Mental Health Services Act 2021 Program Planning Meeting. So I'm pretty sure I'll be doing that. Friday, I'm going to follow up with some of the, we also had the Middle Creek Restoration meeting on Monday. And so there's a couple tasks I need to work on with some of the committee members, different committee members. And so I'm going to follow up on Friday to ensure that we keep moving forward on those tasks. As you heard us discuss the Blue Ribbon Committee earlier, that's a big project, but this is as well. And it's been going on for at least 20 years, almost 30, I'd like to say. But yeah, so I want to make sure we're doing our best to keep the wheels grinding on that. Supervisor Sabatier and myself are on that committee. Monday, back here with Carol for a meeting, for our weekly CIO meeting. And so I've reported on solid waste, ad hoc. Another thing I'd like to just commend, I know Tina mentioned the pit count. Never really been actively engaged in that, but my wife's been working on the North Shore with a couple folks, Lori, and I've had to actually go and not work on something, but I'd go to a spot, and I've seen them doing this. And so it takes a lot of effort for you all to do that. and just seeing the folks that are dealing with the homelessness, and that's noticing that a lot of people are just one emergency away from being in that spot. And so getting that number is very important. And I want to commend all of you for doing that work. We actually bought propane for somebody. We felt so bad. And so it's just, I'm glad to see we're working as a county on this. I'm glad it's on a priority list. And I just wanted to say, you know, especially give you a shout out, Tina, for that. Got a report on the Public Works Department. A constituent called me and wanted to commend, and I like to commend as well. So Jessica, since you did it, I'd like to go ahead and do the same thing. You know, Public Works, Mr. White was working for a constituent out in his area, and he said Mr. White was he followed through and did a great job, ensured that he got the feedback he needed to ensure his road was taken care of when he wasn't able to complete the project, but he let him know when he'd be back and whatnot. And that's so important for constituents at times. And so I don't get a lot of those calls. I get a lot of complaints more than anything, of course, but when you get a call giving props to somebody, I like to do that. So Scott, commend Mr. White for his work. And I'd also like to commend the Victim Witness Department. I went to consult with them about something, and just watching them work on different situations and the trauma that they have to deal with, very well. They work very well, and I like to see what they do. And so, yeah, just wanted to go ahead and do that as well. So that's all I have.
I just want to point out, EJ, your wife was actually one of the top survey takers that day.
Nice. All right, thank you for your report, Supervisor. I'm going to go back also just to add a little bit. Our waste task force, one of the other important items was we created a subcommittee to review our current ordinance, review other ordinances that exist on how to curb illegal dumping. So we're going to have both cities represented in that subcommittee, as well as myself for the county, and work with Director Ewing to see what comes back to the Waste Management Task Force, as well as eventually coming back this way to see what we can do to do a better job of curbing that problem. Also, later on that day, I did go to a National Monument Trail workshop. As we know, we have the Lake Berryessa Snow Mountain National Monument that was created, I believe, in 2015. And we were talking about what kind of access trails would need to be either created or enhanced. And I advocated for the area of the city of Clear Lake over the meeting. Didn't want to advocate for every little thing, since there was a lot of people trying to be there, but I'm thinking that the Walker Ridge area is a good place to also look at, and anything around the Indian Valley Reservoir that might be able to access that area as well. It was very limited for the fact that they were not there in their capacity to talk about trails in the National Forest. So it definitely kept it to other areas such as the Cache Creek Wilderness and areas like that. So those conversations are still happening, and I'm also, I'll use the word pestering our BLM partners, as we've been talking over the course of about 6 to 9 months about informational kiosks coming into the area that provide information to anyone visiting us or at our public parks or visitor centers on what exactly is the National Monument, how to reach the National Monument, and just some good information about it. And I think it's one of those things that we need to take advantage of in marketing our community here. Then we did have also, not to reiterate, but just to add to what Supervisor Crandall was talking about for the meeting with the Middle Creek Restoration Project, we are working on requesting an extension for the funding that was provided to us. More information to come. Our deadline is March 2022. And we still have a large amount of properties to acquire, and we do not believe that that could be accomplished by that date. For many reasons, it's a little bit behind. Part of that is the state, part of that is us as well. We've already re-signed recently with this board a new contract to work now with Monument in order to acquire those properties, and finishing up with Paragon, which was the original contract we had signed. So that's in hopes to move that forward and continue that process. This week, as Supervisor Crandall said, we'll be doing a review of next week's agenda. I'm planning to talk with our community development directors and other conversations today here after our meeting. Tomorrow, starting my day off with a conversation. I've been on the phone a lot with CPUC on multiple items. The last one has been about water, and talking with our low income oversight board about what can be done to help minimize the impact of rate increases to our communities. Also was invited and will take part in the environmental and social justice action plan that the CPUC is putting together. And simultaneously, I'll have to juggle those two. I'm also going to join the rural caucus of the CSAC subcommittee to make sure that our voice is heard on what our needs are. On Thursday, mostly pretty clear. If I can, I'll make sure to get to the Mental Health Services Act, but I want to make sure that our other supervisors who are actually on the board of Mental Health Advisory Board are there first before I take a spot. Later on, a CSAC call to get acquainted with any changes that are happening at the state level with COVID-19, and also joining the City of Clear Lake meeting that evening. Friday, starting off a conversation with our CAO as well as our PHO, and then just covering some of the work that I'm doing for some of the projects that I've been working on. And then coming back here on Monday, meeting with our CAO, a CSAC call, finishing the day with a PEG board meeting, and back here on Tuesday for another Board of Supervisors meeting. So that is my itinerary for the next week. Any other comments before we go ahead and close up and do our closed session? Okay, looks like everybody got what they needed. So that completes our agenda for the day. We will be going to closed session where we have 4 items to discuss.